Welcome. Today's session is on the teacher graded portion of a Google quiz, if you set that part up. And when you do a quiz, some questions may be auto-graded. So this is mostly going to focus on the teacher graded portion. I'll mention a few other things with that. And then if you have other questions about a quiz, we can hit those later. So right now I'm in my Google Drive, and when I want to work on a form, the first thing I'll do is either open up a folder or create a new folder by clicking on the new button and then going into that folder, because if I create my form here, then it's already organized and it's living inside of my Google Drive and it's in the right place. I've started the form already by clicking new and clicking on and creating a form, and this is the form that I've created for today. You'll notice I added questions for first and last name, and I'll show you why I've done that when we get to the spreadsheet and the answers. And then here is a question that is multiple choice, because your quizzes may have some multiple choice along with teacher graded ones. And I've already gone in and put the answer key on and marked the correct answer. Here's a short answer question, and I've already put the answer in. And then at the bottom is a question that says, what region of Kentucky do we live in, and what are 3 important qualities of our region? And even when I clicked on answer key for this one, there was no place to put an answer, because it's such a long, it's a paragraph question, and there's no place for the student. There's no place for me to put what I want for the answer. I can give answer feedback. So when the student clicks submit, if I want them to see the answers right away, or usually when there's something in here that needs to be graded by the teacher, I don't return the form until after I've graded them all and looked them all over. But if I wanted to give feedback to the student so that I didn't have to give them back all individually, I could add feedback here, and I could say these were the 5 things I was looking for. I was hoping that you would give me at least 3 of the 5 or something like that. So you can add feedback, and it's worth points, but there's no place for to put what the right answer is, and for the computer to grade the question. So if I was going to answer this, I'm going to click on the I at the top for preview and pretend like I'm a student. And I do have all my questions as required, so I can put in my first name and my last name, and it says, what county do we live in? I'll get that one right. What city do we live in? Okay, so Lexington's, and mine is showing the correct answer here because I've typed it earlier. Hopefully, I'm going to do that for the students. And then this is where my long answer. Okay, and then I'll hit submit. And I have this one set so it does not show the responses right now. I would have to email those out to the student. So as the teacher coming back in on the teacher part, I can see that I have 4 responses because I answered it a few times before you all got here. If I click on responses, I can look at the summary, the question, or the individual, or I can look at the spreadsheet. So we'll do a little bit of both. The summary is mostly going to give me a graph sometimes of if it can graph the answers, so I can see what the responses are that way. If I click on individual, I can look at what each student did. Now, I collected emails and usually can tell by the email who the student is, but I'm the one that filled all these out. So even though it says Julie, this was really Jack's answer. And then on the next one, Julie, I pretended to be Beth, somebody named Beth, something like that, so that I could answer it more than once. And you can look at answers this way. What I particularly wanted to show you was checking the answers based on question. So on this one, I don't need to check first or last names, and I can click to the next question number by clicking on the arrow, or I can use the drop down and go to it. I don't need to look at the question that says, what county do we live in? The computer created that one for me. And it's fine to mix those kind of questions into your quiz, some that are computer graded and some that aren't. The next one said, what city do we live in? And the computer might have graded that one too, but it was short answer, and I want to glance at those. When I choose this question, I can now see the response from every student. Just this one question from every student. It doesn't tell me which student. So if there is a student with special accommodations, I may have to go into his quiz individually and grade his in case he's given a little bit of leeway. But I can see that this student got it correct and spelled it just what I wanted. This one, well, they spelled it right. It got marked wrong because they didn't use a capital letter. Now, what I could have done, if this is what I'm going to accept as a correct answer, when I put in my answers on the form from the teacher side of it, I could have said Lexington with a lowercase l would have been a right answer, and then it would have accepted this as a right answer. If this is something you would accept, then I can come over here and maybe I could give partial credit if I wanted to, or I could click on the check mark and give full credit, so you can decide how much credit that child should have. But even though the computer's already graded it, I can overrule what the computer is saying. This one, Lexington, Lex space INGTON, it looks to me like the student just accidentally pressed the space bar and didn't mean to. I'm going to give that student full credit and count that one right. Then I'm going to scroll back to the top and I'm going to look at question 5. Oh, I want to leave okay, let's say stay. I know what I didn't do wrong. I don't want to leave in case. At the very bottom, there's a save button, and it doesn't show for me because of my Zoom controls. So I'll need to minimize my screen a little bit so I can see the save button, and I'm going to say save my edits. And then I'll maximize my screen again so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, so now I want to go to the last question. What region of Kentucky do we live in? There's the full question when I put it in here. Now, it really would not have told me the student's name. When I was typing in the names, I was pretending like I put in the different kids' names. This is where Beth typed out her answer. This is where Derek would type out his answer. It shows you that it's ungraded, but you really wouldn't know who the student is. If you wanted to know who the student was when you were grading, you would have to click on individual, scroll to the bottom of the quiz, and check that one, and then go to the next kid and scroll to the bottom. I like that you see all the questions at once, so that if this student put in all the answers I want, I can say, yes, you got them right. This one got partial credit. You know, I'll give you 3 out of 5. This one really got it wrong, didn't give me anything of what I wanted. And this was me when I answered as me a few minutes ago, and I'll give myself full credit. Yep, I got that one right. So to me, this is one of the features I wanted to show you that makes it easy to put the grades in there and auto grade it. Or you didn't auto grade it, you had to teacher grade it, but it's a faster way of doing it. But definitely, if you have some you can set up as multiple choice, put those at the beginning and let the computer grade what they can. Then you can also see, once you've scored it, you can't score it from the spreadsheet. You need to score it from here, but I can look at all the grades in a spreadsheet. Now, even if I've assigned this in Google Classroom, I've probably had to come back to my Google Drive to see all this. I'm going to click on this green button, and it says it's going to create a spreadsheet. When it does that, it usually names the spreadsheet, or it always names the spreadsheet the same name that I've given the file name up here on the top left, plus it puts the word responses in the parentheses after that. I'm going to click create. It's not only going to work right now on creating the spreadsheet, it's going to open it right now so I can see it. I'm going to click back on the form to show you something. If I come in here another day and I want to get to the spreadsheet and I'm already in the form, you can click here and notice it doesn't say it's going to create one now, it's going to view it. So it would open it up again, but it would not create a new spreadsheet because the spreadsheet's already created. So know that you're not going to hurt anything by clicking on that button again. Here's the spreadsheet. Here is the score that I have now corrected and put it in there, or no, or did it just give me the auto graded? Wonder if I need to release those grades. Individual, accepting, ungraded. Wonder if I save those. Save. Let's try that. So that I have, make that big again, individual. Okay, so I wonder if I also need, this is where you would release the scores so that the student would get them, because once I've made some changes, the student doesn't have the new score. This is Beth's score, said she got 10 of 15, 11 of 15. That's Derek's. I wonder what's showing over here. 11 of 15, 13 of 15. So it looks like even though I didn't release it, once I clicked saved, it did update my spreadsheet. And then if I clicked release score, it's going to send, it's going to open up a box so you can click that you want everybody. So if everybody has submitted all their questions, or you're ready to submit back those, and then you can send the email. I don't know that I need to send all of them. I guess I will. And then you sent the email, the student knows their score. So here's the updated score. It did not update until I corrected it, and then I saved it. Here are the names, and I told you I'd mention why I collect first and last names. If you now need to put these scores into your gradebook, into Infinite Campus, or wherever you keep it, you might want the students' names alphabetized by last name. I also like to be able to check to see whoever it collected the email address from, does it match the name, or was Julie answering the quiz for absolutely everybody? If I want to alphabetize by last name, I can click on one of the names, click data, and sort, and it has sorted by last names. So now if I get ready to put those in my grade book, if I am middle school or high school and I'm giving the same quiz to more than one of my classes, or if I'm elementary and you all are giving the same quiz to more than one class, and I wouldn't suggest that for if you're putting them into Google Classroom, I would suggest making different quizzes by clicking on the three dots and making a copy. But if you are a teacher in middle or high school, I would not only ask first and last name. After last name, my next question would say, what hour class are you in? Are you in my first hour class, second hour class? Something like that, so that when you went back to the spreadsheet, you could also sort or filter by which class they were in, and if you were giving them all the same quiz and seeing them. So even though I can see their question here for their long answer, this is not where I'm going to grade it. You could, but it's not going to end up back in Google Classroom. So that was pretty much the purpose of what today's was how to grade this auto-graded form as a teacher.